My name is Brian Benson with James Bean Estate Sales in Oklahoma City. And often people ask us, they were kind of curious as to what do the estate sales look like before we start. And what I want to do is kind of show you what do the estate sales look like before we even start on them, what they look like after they're set up, and then also how much is left. And I think a lot of people are really curious about that because people don't really understand how much work really goes into one of these sales. An average estate sale for us will have 130 man hours accumulated. It will take us on the average sale about 60 hours just to set the sale up to get it presentable, another 60 hours after that during the weekend to sell the stuff, and then after that we also will have another 10 hours, and that is what we call the website time that we spend updating the websites, placing ads, and running miscellaneous errands to go get supplies. So in this room, I want to kind of show you, this is what we're starting with. This is pretty typical for a lot of our estate sales, where the family comes in, they kind of grab what they want, they kind of dumps the stuff on the floor, and they leave it a little bit messy, and this happens a lot at a lot of our sales, so we're very used to seeing this situation. Over here, as you can tell, and what we're going to do in this room, we're going to have to totally restage the room. This whole area is going to be a checkout and sold area, so all this furniture has to go somewhere else. It has to get cleaned, it has to get dusted. The kitchen items have to go back into the kitchen. All this furniture, like I said, we have to totally restage all this to make this look as presentable as possible. Over here, obviously all the trash has to get thrown away. We have to get the electronics, get the stuff, the clutter out of the way, get the rugs back down on the floor. Like I said, this trash has to go away. Over here in the dining area, we have to go through all these cabinets. We have to pull all the stuff out of the cabinets so people can see it. A lot of what we are, since this particular estate sells a two-story, and sometimes people can't make it up the stairs. Also, upstairs, once we get all this restaged, if we have vacant areas or empty spaces, we're going to be bringing furniture downstairs, or from the upstairs down here, so that way it's easier for people who can't make it up the stairs, for them to see the items and shop with the items. Here in the kitchen, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go through all of these kitchen cabinets. We have to pull everything out. Everything has to come out from the bottom cabinets. It has to get displayed up on the kitchen counters. The upper cabinets we have to restage so that people, when they're shopping, everything's fronted so it's easily accessible and easy to see what it is. We even have to go through on this particular house, we're going to have to replace lots of light bulbs. As you can tell, it's dark. The light bulbs have burned out. We have to go through and replace light bulbs. We have to go through white bulb cabinets down, sweep, vacuum them on. Really is a lot that goes on that we do for every estate sale. Here in the garage, what we're going to have to do, since we're selling the car, the battery is dead. We're going to have to replace the battery on the car so we can get the car out of here. We're going to sell the car. Once this car is gone, we're going to bring in probably a couple of dozen tables. We'll lay all the tables out. All of this stuff back here that's real messy, all of this goes up on the tables. We go through, we get everything staged and orderly. We get everything out of the boxes. We go through all of this stuff. These were kitchen items that belong in the kitchen. We'll go back to the kitchen. The garages usually require quite a bit of work because we have to go through and reset everything back up and get everything, staged as best we can. Even in the attic, there's stuff in the attic that we have to bring down and set out. And because this garage is really dark, we're going to have to come in and even bring in extra lighting and hang lighting from the wall so that when people come through, they can see the stuff that they're trying to buy. Here in the master bedroom, what you're going to see, and what's funny is it doesn't look like there's a lot in here, but this room is going to be really full by the time we're done, because when we start working with cabinets and closets and all the little nooks and crannies in a house, that requires us to bring in lots of tables, and we have to pull all the stuff out of those cabinets and closets and put it on the table. So this room, even though it really doesn't look like there's even that much here, during sale time, this room is going to be packed. We're going to have tables everywhere, there's going to be stuff everywhere. This big pile of pictures that were left on the floor, we're going to have to go back through the house and rehang them. This is also why we tell people, don't go in, don't help us, don't pull stuff off the walls. Now the family, if you're trying to help us by taking stuff down, we now have to put all of this stuff back on the walls, and we have to try to figure out where it's going to look best or where it might have come from. Over here, all the trash will have to get thrown away. Upstairs, there's a king-size bed that was disassembled and moved upstairs, so we're going to have to bring all of that back downstairs. And then in the closet, which you can't see, we have to go through the closet, we have to go through, get it sorted, get it organized, pull out the junk clothes, get it nice and straight, and replace lights in there too. As you can tell from this room, this particular room is kind of a big jumble of stuff. A lot of the stuff belongs downstairs. A lot of it's going to have to, get arranged in different parts of the room and set up and displayed, largely so that we can see the furniture and we can also, people can get in actually to the shelves and actually buy the stuff off the shelves. And then we'll see what this looks like after the sale.
Okay.
Alright, here in the next room, as you can tell, this room's a big mess. This is another room where the family came in, started moving stuff around, and started breaking stuff down. So now what we're going to have to do in here, where the beds have been broken down, we're going to have to go back through, put them back together, get them displayed, get them set up so people can see what they look like when they're done. All the trash we have to get gone, these bags have to be gone through, we have to get all this up on tables. Overhead, this bed is hiding a chase, so we're going to have to go through, we're going to have to move quite a bit of furniture around. A lot of this furniture won't stay in this room. It'll get distributed throughout the house anytime we can find places. Because what we have to do, we have to stage the house to make it look as normal as possible and as inviting as possible, so that when people are shopping, or if you're shopping in here, when you're looking at it and go like, wow, I can envision this in my house. As it is now, as you can tell, no one can envision this in their house. Nobody wants a big mess. But we're going to set this up so that when the customer's shopping, they can come through and say, yeah, I really want that. I really like how that looks. As you can tell from this closet's quite a mess too. What we'll do on this closet, all of this stuff will get pulled out. The room that it's in, luckily, doesn't have a lot of stuff, so we'll set up more card tables. All the stuff gets pulled out, it all gets folded up, it all gets, it's organized, it looks clean. Once we get this taken out, we can actually use this closet space to display other things, like in case we have more clothes, in case we encounter more clothes, or to hang like tablecloths and other things. But, obviously no one's going to shop in this because you look at it and it gets overwhelmed. So our job as part of setting up the sale is we have to go in and try to make everything that's chaotic, we have to make it look and display it as good as we can. Alright, here we are after everything is set up, and now as you can tell, the room is totally different. We've restaged this whole area over here. It means we got all the trash removed, we got everything swept, we got everything vacuumed. We moved some furniture around to make everything look, as inviting as possible, so that you can display stuff so that you can imagine somebody's home. As you can tell through here, we got rid of all the trash. We got the rugs that were kind of wadded on the floor. We got all those laid out. We got everything swept, vacuumed. We got pictures hung up on the walls where there weren't pictures. We brought in card tables and set some stuff up on it. Our goal is always when we display stuff, you want to get everything waist level to eye level, because that's the easiest range for people to shop in. People don't want to get on their hands and knees and dig, and they don't. And also with a lot of women being shorter, it has to be not too high so that way they can reach it, because a lot of times they just won't ask for help. And here, we clean the dining room table. The house has been sitting for about a year, so with that, you're going to have a lot of dust and just stuff that accumulates. So we restaged all of that. We got everything out of this cabinet in the back, put it out on tables, and kind of put it throughout the house just to get it displayed as well as it can be displayed in the space that we have. Next, I'll show you the kitchen. Here in the kitchen, as you can see, we went through all the cabinets. That means nothing is in the under cabinets. Everything's been pulled out and displayed. We used some of the upper cabinets for display. And part of that is, like I said, the previous, you want to keep everything waist level to eye level, and that makes it really easy to shop. A lot of our customers are what we call ninja shoppers, which means they get in, they see everything really quick, and they want to get out really fast. So we have to get everything out and displayed so that when they come through, they can scan everything and see everything, and it's laid out and presentable without them having to do a lot of effort to dig through, because usually they want to come in, they want to come to our cell, and then they want to hit 5 or 6 other cells after our cell. So, you want to get everything as visible and easily to see as possible. Right here in the garage, as you can tell, we had a car here. We got the car's battery was dead. We put a new battery in it. They had a flat tire. We had to go get the tire fixed. And then after we got all that going, we had to take it down to red carpet, get the car cleaned. So now it's out of our way so that we could bring in more tables. With the tables, we were able to unbox all this box stuff that was over on these walls over here. So that way we get everything out and displayed so that when people come through, the garage is one of the hottest areas in every house. physically is hot, but also it's the area that everybody wants to go to find all the good buys and all the fun bargains. So this room is going to be packed, so we have to get enough room in here so that people can get around and maneuver without blocking themselves in. And on top of that, we have to get everything laid out so people can see it as easy as possible. And in this garage, because it was so dark, we had to bring in all this extra lighting so that now this garage is light enough so that people can come in and they can see what they're buying instead of not really being able to see anything. Here in the bedroom, as you can see, we went through, we straightened up everything. This big pile of pictures that was on the floor over here, we got all those up. We got most of them hung or just, somewhere in the house where they can be easily seen. Over here on these doors, we utilize every single inch of space we can. So like on some of the doors, we'll end up hanging either, throws or purses or something just to get stuff up and visible. You can see that we brought the headboard down from upstairs. Our goal when we set up all of the cells is to try to put stuff together so that when it comes in, it makes sense to people. People don't have to come in and they don't have to figure out that, hey, there's matching pieces somewhere else in the house that can go with the set in case they want the entire set. And then, we brought in the carpets from the other room, laid them on the floor so it's easy to see, that people can actually see the carpets now and decide if they, they can see what the patterns are without having them rolled up. And we came through and swept and vacuumed. Now, what a difference this room is. We've gotten everything out of the floors, everything off the sofa so you can see everything. We've got everything kind of in the areas that we would expect to find it. Kitchenwares are in the kitchen. Bedroom items are in the bedroom. We've also gone through, priced everything, so everything's very neat, very orderly. You can easily identify the prices that everything is for sale for. And everything is very well presented, so it's very easy for people to come in and shop and find what they want. Now, do you remember this room? This room was a wreck. I mean, we had furniture everywhere. This trundle bed that's right here was disassembled in every different direction. Not even all the pieces were in the room. We had to go through, get everything out of the room, come back, set the trundle bed up. We had to undig all the furniture over here. Over here, this thing was piled up full. You couldn't even see it through all the linens and stuff that was, piled on top of it. We had to get all this cleaned off. The little leather recliner and all of this. We had to come through and get everything cleaned, everything vacuumed. We had to get a lot of stuff out of this room just because it was stacked full, almost like a storage area. And now it actually looks like a room that you could come in and actually see the furniture and actually want the furniture. Remember this empty room? This room almost had nothing in it, and we came in, brought in card tables. All the linens from the last room came over here. We got them all folded up so that you can actually see what you're going to buy. All of these throw pillows, which were covering all the furniture, are now down on the floor, so that now you can go through, you can sort, you can figure out what you want. It makes everything much easier to see. And also, with linens, because often in rooms, they get, people go through and they get all messed up. At least if they're messed up, they're messing up, they're covering other linens, they're not covering, high-end furniture or other things that are expensive. A lot of times, like I said, linens, they're always the room that turns into a disaster after everybody goes through and unfolds it all. So this kind of keeps it contained and away from the rest of the house, so that way we don't have to worry about coming in and the linens not, keeping something else from selling. Remember this closet? This closet was waist deep in linens and you couldn't even walk in this closet. We've got all of those out. They're folded up outside. We utilized a lot of the curtain rod or the rod space here since all the clothing had already been donated to actually hang. We hung bed skirts and curtains and some other smaller, thinner things. Utilized the space up here to put in pillows and other things. So now you can walk in the closet, you can shop in the closet. It adds. Being able to use every single square inch of a house is real important because, like I said, when stuff comes out of the cabinets and closets, suddenly you have a lot of stuff to sell. Now that I've shown you all the hard work that it takes to get one of these cells set up and displayed, what I'm going to do after the cells, we're going to bring you back and actually show you how much stuff is gone so you can see how little is left over at the end of every one of our cells. Alright, now we're here at the end of the estate sale and I'm going to show you what is left. Now, of course, first thing that's left is this armoire. And this is something, the reason I point this out is I always tell people armoires never sell for us. People never believe us. The homeowners never believe us. They always think they spent a lot of money on this armoire. Surely somebody's going to come in and buy it. And sure enough, they didn't. They don't sell because these maximum will fit a TV that's a 36-inch old tube TV. Nobody has a 36-inch tube TV anymore. Most of the smallest flat panels are 42 inch and they just don't fit. And several people came in, they measured it, once again, never fit, and it didn't sell. No matter what we price these things at, these things just sit on the floor. So, and even this week, I've had several phone calls from people trying to, they have them walls, wanting to get rid of them, not knowing where to get rid of them. And I always have to tell them, I don't know what you're going to do because I can't get rid of them either. And this kind of, proves a point that yes, there's some things that just don't sell at any price. As you look around the rest of the room, you're going to notice most of the stuff sold. This chair didn't sell. Maybe a little bit surprising, but the chair had issues. It had a split in the seat and it was leather. And I think people, when they look at it, they realize it's going to cost more to fix it than the chair is worth. You also have to note that on this particular sale, it was 100 degrees outside. We're in the middle of June. It was 99 degrees. And when it gets hot, the last thing people want to do is move big, heavy furniture. They're already sweating and they look at stuff and they just can't foresee themselves, being out there in the heat trying to move it. And, the rugs, we didn't sell a single rug at this sale because it's in the middle of summer and it's hot, and rugs are a very weird seasonal item. In the winter, we'll sell every single rug. In the summer, rugs just won't sell no matter what they're priced. And a lot of us, because once they're all rolled up, the last thing somebody wants to do is have a big old furry rug in the heat. This piece over here, the clear reason why it didn't sell is it's not a complete piece of furniture, it is part of a piece of furniture. It was part of a much larger entertainment center, and this is one end piece. And it has a flat side on one side, the other side isn't, and several people looked at it, and once they realized they were getting a piece of the furniture, not a full piece of furniture, they lost interest in it. The last item that didn't sell in this area is the sofa. Reason why this didn't sell, although it was a little disappointing and kind of surprising, was largely the style. This was a really great Ralph Lauren sofa that was downfilled that almost everybody wanted. Several people came in and looked at it. Several people almost bought it. What killed them, or what the killer was, had this been a neutral sofa, it would have sold. Had it been a solid color sofa, it would have sold. Or had it been any other shade of red, it would have sold. But when people came in, they brought their pillows, to match, to see if it would fit, and it just, being plaid, it was too specific for most people to use. It wasn't neutral enough. The other thing is, you can tell by the colors, this was probably a sofa probably from the late 90s when these colors were very popular, and it failed, with several people coming in. They just never could get the right buyer who needed this specific of a pattern, because the pattern on the sofa really limited its use in interior design. All right, now here we are in the kitchen, and this is literally everything left over on the first floor of the house. Everything from the dining room, everything from the living room, everything from the kitchen, almost everything from the bedrooms, the bathrooms. This is all the small stuff. And, kind of like what I like to point out is you'll notice if you look at the video how much small stuff we had in all the cabinets and all over all the tables. And this is really all there is left. And most of this stuff, when we look at it, and every time we do an estate sale, when it's over, we go through and kind of figure out, what's left and why didn't it sell. And we do that so that we can figure out, were we too high on an item, were we too low on an item, why didn't this particular item sell. Most of the items in here didn't sell because either one, they were cracked or chipped, or because they were incomplete sets of items, or in a couple other instances, the items when plugged in and tested just didn't work. And this is kind of a real good indicator, when I tell people, when we look at sales, a lot of times people will try to jump the gun and they go in and they start clearing out the small items because they think we're just going to sell the furniture. And I always stress to them, no, we need all these little bitty items. The little items are the stuff that everybody can buy, because it doesn't matter, even if you're a hoarder and your stuff is stacked all the way up to the ceiling, you can still buy something this big and take it home and put it, in with your pile. You can't always, not everybody needs a big sofa, not everybody needs a big armoire, but small stuff, it gives everybody something small that they can take home and put in a cabinet or a closet. And that's why we stress that we need the small stuff, because the small stuff is the better sellers of, will outsell the big stuff, literally 10 to 1. And as you can tell, in the entire house, or in the entire first floor, this is it. So it's, so that's why I always say, make sure you leave the small stuff, because we really need that stuff. The small items are the items that we say that, somebody grabs a small item for $1, and then once they make the commitment in their mind that they're going to buy this one little item for $1, then it makes it easier when they're in line to pay for it to say, hey, I'm going to get this other item, or I'm going to get this chair, or I'm going to get these other things. It's kind of what we call the Walmart effect. You buy one item and suddenly you're adding to your ticket because you're already going to have to write a check or pay cash or, pull out your credit card. And the small items actually drive the sale of the bigger items. Right, now here we are in the master bedroom, and these two items are really the only two things left, and there's a little bit of stuff down there. The reason why these didn't sell, number one, this one's pretty easy. If you can tell the top is totally messed up on this piece of furniture, and we had another one which also was messed up, but the people didn't want two projects. But most of the people looking at this, because it was messed up, that kind of dissuaded them. When you look at this piece, and it's sad that this piece didn't sell because this is a piece of Century. It's a really great piece of furniture. You can't complain about the quality. You can't complain about really anything on it except for the fact that it's too short. This is a 1970s piece of furniture, and the problem with 1970s furniture is, look how low it is. If you go to a furniture store now and look at all the new furniture, this dresser, if it was new, would be this tall or even up to this tall. And when people come in, because even though it's a style that they might find at a furniture store, just because it's the wrong height, it makes it look dated. And that was probably pretty much what we call the reason why this piece didn't sell, is just when people look at it, they immediately think because it's short, it's 70s and it's not going to look right with their houses. And you have to realize most houses today, all the new houses being built, this has 8-foot ceilings. The new houses all have 10-foot ceilings, 12-foot ceilings. You put a piece of furniture this short in one, and it's suddenly going to look really weirdly short. And that's what we call that the in-between furniture, the stuff in the 70s that doesn't really find a lot of buyers because it's just no longer the style. Now here we are upstairs. The one thing I want to point out about with us being upstairs is often upstairs rooms don't perform as well as the downstairs rooms. A lot of our customers are older, so they aren't able to make it up the stairs. So it's not as easy for them to shop upstairs. So a lot of times the stuff on the second floor doesn't sell as well as the downstairs. But as you can see, this is pretty much all the knickknacks and everything from the entire second floor. It's all up here. When we look at all this, we can easily see the reason why this is here is books. Books are not a really good seller for us. When you look at like the 3 pictures here, all of them either had broken frames or broken pieces, or there was something that was wrong with them. Some of the other things, when you really look at them, they were either nicked or chipped or cracked, or there was some other issue that when people looked at them, they decided that, they didn't want to take it home. But this really shows, how, when we started this room, it was a horrible jumbled mess. There was stuff on the floor, stuff in the cabinets, and we got it all out, got it presented. And now this is all that's left over. And this is in spite of 100-degree heat, that we're battling against, despite it being on the second floor, which was another battle for us. This is really what's left. And then when we show you the next 2 rooms, you're going to see how little is even left in those 2 rooms. Now here we are in this room. If you remember this room, this was the room that was really crazy with all the furniture that was just kind of piled all up, and we had to get it straightened out and put, pieces together, and look how much sold. The only thing that didn't sell in this whole room is this little bitty picture, which pictures don't sell well. And this exercise machines or exercise equipment is another one of our what we call the low sellers at estate sales. They're often very difficult to sell. If they do sell, they don't bring a lot of money. And this one had a chance because it's an elliptical. And ellipticals at one time a few years ago were selling really well, but even they've kind of cooled the pace. A lot of times it's whatever's hot, people will come in and buy, and then the ellipticals have been kind of on the waning end, so it's left over. But it really shows the power of us coming in, getting a room well presented, and then when people came in and actually, bought out the room. And as you remember this room, when we started, there wasn't much in it. Then we filled it up full of linens, and now once again it is empty. A lot of that goes to show how important it is when you stage linens and when you stage things, how important it is to get everything looking really good so that when people see it, so that they can envision it being in their home. That was really what we call the key factor into all of these linens selling and going out the door. And as you can see, really the only thing left is this one picture. Your pictures sometimes are not real sellable. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Usually they're one of the things that we usually find over more often at the end of the estate sales, but this kind of shows, the powers of, staging and presenting linens in their best light. All right, so there you have it. You've seen the before, the during, and the after effects of an estate sale. You've seen a sale that was done in the middle of July in Oklahoma City where it's extremely hot, with 100-degree heat. And honestly, I'd rather have a sale in the middle of a blizzard with 6 inches of snow because it won't be as hard to do as it will in a heat wave in Oklahoma because when it's hot, people just don't like to buy stuff. And you've seen, what we've been able to do when we started with a house that's dirty, we've been able to get it set up, and you've been able to see, how much it we've been able to sell. Now, when you look around at all this rest of the stuff, you have to say, okay, well, what do we do with it now? Well, largely it still belongs to the family. The family gets to own it, or it's still theirs if they want to keep it. If they come in, they decide they don't want to keep it, then we will work with a charity and have a charity come in and pick up everything they don't want. And then whatever they don't pick up, we'll usually have a cleaning company come in and they will come in and clean up what doesn't sell so that this house can get on the market and get sold tomorrow.